As you guys may know, I've kinda sorta quit Krunker a few months back, right? I'm still in the map making scene, for now at least, but that's a different story. But as for the game itself, I've stopped playing it, and I've already made a video about it, so I'm not gonna get into it again. And ever since then, I've been trying to cheat on Krunker a bit, you know? Look for a different game to play in its place, alright? And there are many I've found that are kind of good, or at least decent, but perhaps the most interesting game I've found, for mostly the wrong reasons, is this game right here, Krunker.io. I've actually first heard about it from one of Big Lewis's videos. Yeah, go ahead, Small Lewis, whatever in the comments. But yeah, that's where I discovered it. And basically what this game is Minecraft and Krunker combined. And by that I mean it's literally just Krunker, but with Minecraft style graphics, and no ability to place or destroy blocks. You ever play Minecraftville in Krunker? That's literally all this game is. Really the only big difference between Krunker and Krunker is, well, one, the Minecraft style graphics, but then again Minecraft style graphics are on Krunker maps anyway, so that's not really much of a differentiation. The other thing is the movement scheme, you know, the controls. Well, all I can say is that Krunker, for an IO game, is very, very polished in terms of the controls, alright? It's precise when it needs to be, and it's unrealistic when possible. And it's this sort of balance between realism and just complete wackiness that is absolutely awesome, and it manages to do it very naturally. It feels good to move around, alright? Jumping is pretty good. You get some pretty decent verticality with it. Not to mention the sliding mechanic, which is Krunker's secret weapon, pretty much. Alright, being able to slide hop around and pull off these insane moves is pretty much what makes these controls, and by extension the whole game, as fun as it is. At least when you're not dealing with the game's bullshit. Krunker's controls, on the other hand, are pretty much the exact opposite. If CSGO and Call of Duty, I guess, have realistic controls, and Krunker has, I guess, middle of the road, like not too realistic, not too unrealistic, Krunker is all the way back here. Unrealistic. And it's also unpolished, alright? It's not as bad as some of the other games I've tried to play, alright? It works, alright? It's fine, but it's definitely not as fun as Krunker's by a long shot. It's generally slower, similar to Minecraft, so it's not just the aesthetics, it's in the controls too. Only it's even worse than Minecraft, because when you're on the ground, there's no acceleration or deceleration. You're just moving at a constant speed as soon as you press down a button. And when you let go, you stop immediately. Right? It's very, very touchy. Right? And the jumps are just so puny, just like Minecraft's. And you have very little mid-air control. And it does have, I guess, its own answer to the slide mechanic. And it's a dash, where you press E and it dashes in whatever direction you're holding the keys. Which it does have its uses, but it's overall just, it's not as fun or as useful as sliding can be. Alright, you can't build momentum with dashes, alright? At the end of every dash, you lose all momentum. So like if you do it in midair, you literally just stop in midair. Right? It's literally like Sonic's quick steps, except you're playing an actual hedgehog and not Sonic. And yeah, the controls definitely leave a lot to be desired, even if they are technically better than a lot of the other games I've played in the whole realm of, you know, online first-person shooters. And you could argue that the game itself may benefit from this kind of slower, more grounded control scheme, alright? Because the game itself is generally slower and, much like the control scheme, more grounded, alright? It's sort of like playing hide and seek, where you're both the hider and the seeker at the same time, where you have to be careful and look behind your shoulder, and you have to camp out in places and then find a new position as fast as possible before the other guys find you. And yeah, I guess it's a different flavor of Krunker gameplay, alright? Sure, but it's still very clear where the game draws its inspiration from, alright? It's a Krunker clone, alright? I can't beat around the bush here, alright? It has that stupid dynamic crosshair, it has all the weapons, all the weapon woes, just like Krunker, alright? It has the OP shotgun, it has the OP sniper, it has the noob AK spray weapon, and it has a fairly well-balanced LMG type gun, but when everything else in the game is so OP, it's really not worth using. It also has a couple of secondaries that you'll never use, and of course, a knife that, barring the handle, I swear looks identical to Krunker's knife. Oh, wait, sorry, it's a bayonet. Whatever. They all have weird names, like fucking Weedle? What the hell is that? Game mode wise, it's just pathetic. There's only 3 game modes total. Like, only 3. The first of them is FFA, which in this game is actually more like King of the Hill, like in Krunker, where it's this sort of hardpoint thing, but it's every man for themselves, where you're basically fighting off a horde of everyone else while trying to keep your place. And the score is actually relatively significant to the amount of score you get from kills too, so there's an actual reason to be in these hardpoints. But aside from that, it's pretty much free-for-all, right? Just like in Krunker. The matches are 8 minutes long instead of 4, so they are a little longer, and whenever the match ends, instead of starting a new match, the server closes, and you have to find another server, alright? And it's definitely different from Krunker, alright, that one. And honestly, I don't know if I really like it, alright? Whenever I press the play button, it always drops me into these lobbies that are literally like 1.5 minutes left in the game. And there's somebody in the lobby who already has 50 kills, and it's pretty much impossible to win at that point, so it's really just, it's pointless, alright? But at least you only need to be in the top 3 to win, instead of having to be in first place. And apparently, this is an interesting one, right? You can apparently switch weapons on the fly in this game. I mean, every time you open up the menu, you have to wait 3 seconds to go back to the game, but yeah, you can switch weapons, alright? Okay, fine. It's not an exact clone, alright? It does enough to stand out a little bit. But as a semi-retired Krunker player, I just can't help but point it out. Like, it has its own store with its own knockoff store jingle, just like the one in Krunker. It also lets you mod it quite a bit, and there are also clans, alright? They're definitely clans, trust me. And even a f***ing desktop clan, like jeez. There is one thing that this game does very, very good that I wish Krunker would do, alright? The one thing that Krunker could take notes from here. And that is that it has level up bonuses, alright? Like, you can actually unlock weapons and do loot boxes, alright? But yeah, actual incentive to play the game and level up. At least as of now, alright? I haven't gotten very far in the game yet, so I can't really speak for the higher levels. But yeah. That's a good thing, alright? That is something that Krunker should probably consider. The maps in this game are probably where the biggest differences lie, alright? Where Krunker's maps are based around just speed and flow, these maps are built more around like finding hiding spots and sneaking around and these big open spaces and everything. Basically leaning into the whole hide and seek nature of the game. At least in FFA, right? Trying to play the second game mode, which is TDM, is pretty much exactly like Krunker, as many of the TDM maps are super small and... That is Clash Royale. That is a custom map in Krunker, not even a rotation map. A custom map. Deadass. Oh, and the game of course has its own Nuketown knockoff, except it's even more shameless than Little Town, alright? Because it's literally called a Nuketown. Just... Alright, never mind, they're exactly the same, alright? I'm so sorry, I'm trying to find every little difference between this game and Krunker to try and separate the two, but then comes these major moments of just pure shamelessness that brings me back to reality, alright? Literally all this game is the worst of Krunker, and whatever it can find of the worst of Minecraft, sort of Frankenstein together into this amalgamation of a game, alright? And that's not even getting into the parkour mode. And I'm gonna be honest, this is what I was most interested in because I'm a parkour map maker for Krunker. And honestly, as janky as the FFA and TDM game modes are, this one was the most disappointing to me. It's very primitive compared to what parkour and Krunker can be. With Krunker you have score zones, checkpoints, all these cool like jump boosts or jump pads, or boost ramps, all these cool mechanics, wall running, stuff like that. But in Krunker, literally all you do is just go from start to finish, and that's it. Alright, no score zones, no hidden sequence beyond maybe the occasional secret path, no real checkpoints, none of the cool features like wall jumping or anything. It's literally just like Krunker parkour in the old days, except arguably even more simplistic. Like, you're just jumping. Literally just jumping. Not to mention playing parkour puts you on the same time rules as the regular game modes, where you only get 8 minutes to beat a map, which is barely enough for some of these maps, right? With Krunker you can set it to unlimited time and you can just keep losing your mind to a map and it's fun. But with this one you only have 8 minutes and it's annoying. But most disappointingly, this is also where the limitations of the wonky controls really start to take their toll, alright? It's way too touchy, and with some of these small jumps like in Ancient, you need to be as perfect as possible. And with these controls, it's just a disaster, alright? Jumping being as low as clumsy as it is can be a pain in the ass, and in some cases you have to walk just a little off a platform, then jump just to get the extra distance. And then there are points where you have to dash, and because the dash is on a cooldown, even in parkour mode, which is just fucking stupid at that point, you have to literally wait around for like 5 seconds just to dash again, only to fail because the dash timing on some jumps are just so particular. Then there is the mouse flick issue. My god. It's a thing with Krunker to some extent, and it is annoying there, but I swear to fucking god, it happens literally every 3 to 5 seconds in this game. On client, on Chrome, unlimited, limited FPS, whatever, and then it just starts to lag out of random after a few minutes, and it's borderline unplayable. And not just in parkour mode, alright? In the whole game it's like this. I don't get it. It may just be my computer falling apart or something, or it could be OBS, but I legitimately cannot play this game for longer than 3 minutes. So maybe the 8-minute timer is generous after all, I don't know. The maps themselves are also a mixed bag. Most of the maps are completely linear with no secret paths to speak of. Some of them are nearly impossible, like underwater, I still can't get past the first room in less than the 8 minutes you get. Then there's islands, and by extension sky high, where both of them are literally you jumping across maps in the sky, and because there are no checkpoints, you make one mistake, right, you fall off, you go back to the beginning, just like old times. There are maps like Ancient that do help you learn the parkour quite well, and as for pure enjoyment, both Time and Palace are definitely the best ones, if you ask me, though that's not saying much. But besides those, all these maps are completely forgettable, alright? And speaking of maps, let's finally address the map editor. Oh boy. I guess this is where the more Minecrafty aspects of the game come into play, where you can, place blocks and destroy them, left click destroys, right click places, and you have a hotbar and everything. Pretty much all of the important features, like creating spawn points and stuff, are only accessible via hotkeys. And you have to open up a menu and switch tabs just to find them, which makes them way annoying than they have to be, right? Like you could at least put them somewhere where I don't have to open 2 different menus to see, like right here or anywhere. Alright, all this space you could use. Or better yet, why not put these super important crucial tools in this space instead? Like why not let us just click a button to create these things instead of having to memorize hotkeys, alright? Seriously, hotkeys are meant to save time, not waste it. And I'm sure with time one could learn the workflow and make some cool stuff with it, but as of now, this map editor is just a mess. And with there being only 5 maps total you can make and no way to export or publish them, like, what's the point of this? And on top of it all, there are so many bugs. Like, you can literally die to the invisible death zone in creative mode. Like, in editor. And by die, I mean you freeze for a few seconds, then you get teleported back, making you think the editor froze. I wish I could make this up. It's just such a laughable failure, in my opinion. And yeah, I know limitations breed creativity. I know all too well from Online Sequencer and even the Krunker editor back in the day, but this is beyond limited. It's non-functional, it's clunky, and it's just unusable. And to say the least, I'm definitely sticking with the Krunker editor over this, all the way through. Like, it's not even a contest. And yeah, I guess that sums up Krunker. It's a hot mess. Obviously trying to do what Krunker has already done, hence why I keep bringing up Krunker every other sentence. But honestly, despite everything I've said about it, and its dogshit parkour and map making, it's fine. Just fine. And you know what? I can actually kind of recommend this as an alternative to guess if you're sick of Krunker but you're looking for a different Krunker-esque experience. Alright, I won't go abandoning Krunker for it. I mean, Krunker is objectively better, at least even when it doesn't work, it's still better. But Krunker, even with all this jank, does prove to be somewhat refreshing. Alright, there's not really much else to say other than that. It's a change of pace.